Yeah. So what do you think about our man Earl Thomas and marriage and divorce in general? Are you married? Kind of what do you think about this situation here?
Hell no, I'm not married.
How
But
do you feel about marriage?
I used to be very much wanting to get married. All right, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of IDRYB reacts or chats, or I don't really know where I'm going to put this, but it's a good one. But today we are going to be talking about Earl Thomas. For those who don't know, he used to play for the Seattle Seahawks in the NFL and was slated to return. Barring, a recent announcement that he gave said as much, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I was recently on the lead attorney's channel talking about this issue, and specifically in the context of marriage and dating and relationships and stuff like that. And I wanted to share that with you guys. So before we dive into that, I figure if you don't really know what's going on, let's quickly just go through. And we have here Earl Thomas III is facing some serious legal charges in Texas, and this time only days after stating that he hopes to return to the NFL. In the arrest affidavit, police allege Thomas violated a protective order that was issued in May 2021 by a Travis County civil court judge. That order stated that Thomas could communicate with the woman, his ex-wife, only through a co-parenting phone application. Now, remember that, because that part's going to be important. The woman, again, his ex-wife, Nina, told the police that Thomas refuses to download this application and instead reaches out to her by phone, and he arrives unannounced at places she frequents. Another article here says more specifically, recently, the woman told police, and again, we're talking about Nina, told police Thomas began sending her text messages that threaten the woman and her children. On April 18th, police say that Thomas texted the woman that he obtained 2 handguns earlier in the day, and later texted that he was waiting on hand and foot. It is why I'll kick your ass. I'm going to guess that's a typo, and he's talking about waiting on you, hand and foot. Here's the juicy part. The next day, police say that Thomas texted, "I hope you in the car with him," meaning her new man, "and the kids, and y'all drive off the road." This is the mother of your children and your children. That same day, police say he texted, "I'm going to let mama and my cousins poison the children." So this is extreme. And again, I don't know Earl Thomas like that. I know him in a football context. I don't know much about his relationship. I don't know much about this woman, Nina. But, seeing this, we've seen a lot of strife, let's say, in the sports world when it comes to stuff with wives and girlfriends and babies and condoms and all that kind of stuff. And this really, I hadn't heard about Earl Thomas being, specifically crazy in any way. I mean, he's a football player and they bring up CTE here, and that's, definitely a issue. But it just struck me as something a little bit different. And so I went on to the lead attorney. Thank you to the lead attorney for bringing me back onto his platform. He was talking about this and opened the panel, and I decided, hey, let me go check it out. So here is that clip from the lead attorney's channel. The full stream will be in the description below. Please do go check that out and give him a follow. A great YouTuber and so much value in what he does. So without further ado, let's dive right into the clip.
Deal breakers. Yes, Maggie is exactly right. Let's bring up our man Lutch. Lutch, how are you doing?
Oh, it is good to see you again, brother. How have you been?
I've been doing well. Haven't seen you in a while. Nice, so nice for you to come up.
I haven't been able to catch you live, but I have been absolutely watching everything that you put out, man. It is great. It is great to be back.
Yeah. So what do you think about our man Earl Thomas and marriage and divorce in general? Are you married? Kind of what do you think about this situation?
Hell no, I'm not married. But
how do you feel about marriage?
I used to be very much wanting to get married. And shout out to the late great Kevin Samuels. It was right around the time of my the end of my last relationship where this woman was just
She looked good. Let's put it that way. She looked good.
Let's stop for a moment. And if you have not checked out my tribute to Kevin Samuels, please do that. His death hit me harder than I thought it would. And I was trying to grapple with that. And so if you're interested in what that was, please do go check that out.
And I got in there, and luckily she left me. But just being in that state of mind where you can allow women to bring you to these places, it's not healthy. And the level of vitriol that can happen between two people, you have to, to use the manosphere terminology, you have to vet better. And when it gets to little things about downloading an app and texting this way, and then just you can fire off that text so easily, and it doesn't really mean anything to you, and then it comes back and hits you. And when you realize that the courts are so heavily stacked against you,
Yes.
then the question is it really worth it? So I mean, for an athlete, a rapper, and a celebrity like Johnny Depp, I would say hell no. And again, even with the movie stars, you see them get together, and you don't see situations like Amber and Johnny too often. You see them break up and get together all the time, but that just seems to be how Hollywood is. When you look at athletes, specifically athletes and musicians, there's such an imbalance in that, because usually you'll see movie stars dating other movie stars, unless you're Leo, he's got it figured out. But that just like here, I mean, I'm not too familiar with who his ex-wife is. But the notion of waiting until your career is over, not a bad idea. We just had.
So there was somebody who was on this panel before I was, or maybe it was a super chat, I don't remember. That somebody was saying that because of what I had mentioned earlier with all this strife with athletes, somebody was mentioning that maybe these athletes should wait until after their career, maybe out when they're not in the limelight, to try to settle down. And it seems like a smart move, because the idea is that they'll still have the money, but because they are not superstars, they're not as famous anymore, then you're less likely to come across somebody who is just chasing clout, or whichever way you want to put it. And it absolutely isn't to say that this is only a one-way problem with women going to men, but I think it's fair to say, so sorry to interrupt your podcast experience. I just want to remind you, if you're enjoying what you're watching, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content. And if you really love it, there's some support links in the description. I would love if you could help out the channel. And back to the show. That it's a much bigger problem going that way. There are certainly ways that women are victimized. Absolutely. There is no question about that. But in this specific way, we see what we've got. So diving back in.
The situation with what's her name? Stephanie something with Steph Curry, or somebody, I don't remember. But these situations keep coming up with different athletes. And in certain respects, some of these athletes are legitimately almost superhuman. But when it comes to women, we all think the same way. And just because you look good and you are, jacked, and you've got the skills to attract whoever you want, that doesn't mean that you are absolved.
So by this, what I really meant, just because you have skills in one area and you happen to garner a lot of attention from females or whoever it is that you're into, doesn't mean that you automatically know how to deal with that attention. And specifically, if you are, as the dating landscape has changed so quickly and so drastically, I can imagine, I think Earl Thomas is a bit older, but all the more reason that, I'm sure from the time that Earl Thomas was in high school to now, he's always been able to have a certain type of attention coming his way. He is, an attractive, a skilled athlete. And but that doesn't change the notion of when a pretty girl looks at you and this and that. It may be softened by the fact that you get that attention more often than other people. But that doesn't mean that if you fall for somebody just because you're famous, just because you're great at running through the defense, that it has to do with anything to do with how you deal with women. So diving back in here.
Whoever you want, that doesn't mean that you are absolved of the danger that's on dating in general. And
yeah, we see with Johnny Depp again. You know, he had all the money in the world, and look how his marriage turned out.
I gotta say, man, your commentary is amazing. I can't wait. I was so upset when I realized we're not coming back to the 16th. But back to the issue, and it's
that is a travesty. I can't believe we have to wait until next week to see the rest of Amber Heard's testimony. And I am dying. I'm dying to see the cross-examination. Oh, that's going to be juicy. Oh, it's going to be juicy. We're definitely going to be covering that. But back to the issue at hand.
Because, you know, I'm not too familiar with Earl Thomas outside of a football context. So I don't know if he is a violent. I don't know if he is a hothead. I don't know these things. But now this is all I have to go off of. And this could be completely outside of his character. And like I said, you know, just being stuck in these types of relationships where there's so much passion and maybe not so much logic. You know, that's got to be part of it. So you know, another thing that Kevin Samuels would talk about all the time, he would just say, F your happiness. That's not what this is about. Are you getting married? Why are you getting married? I want to be happy. I want to be a partner, all these things. And I don't know. I just feel like Earl Thomas, with a lot of these athletes, they watched a little more Kevin Samuels, maybe he wouldn't be in this position.
There you go. Well, listen, thank you so much, Lutch, for coming up. I really appreciate it. I hope you come up more, brother. Okay.
Every time I catch you, please do go check out the I Didn't Read Your Book podcast YouTube channel. I got just put out a video today. I got some more coming out tomorrow, and doing great stuff.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lutch. Really appreciate it. Y'all go check out my man's channel. All right, one of the mods can drop a channel in the chat.
Thank you again, TLA.
Thank you so much, Lutch.
All right. So that was my little chat with TLA, also known as the lead attorney. You know, again, he framed this whole stream as, is marriage worth it for men? And the point of bringing up you know, the passion and all of that, and you know, the fact that you can have all the skills in the world and still look at women the same way, I don't think that marriage is worth it for the most part. There's definitely situations, there's definitely couples that it will work for. I'm not saying that it can't work. I'm just saying that, as I said on the panel the odds are so heavily stacked against you when it comes to the courts and all of that, that unless it goes perfectly smoothly, you're probably going to get screwed one way or another. The whole notion of the hookup culture and the fact that the general views on promiscuity and, you know, sexual liberation and all that stuff, I mean, you know, I have my opinions, but that's neither here nor there. The point is that the landscape has changed. And if you're not aware of that, if you're not paying attention to how things have changed, then you're destined to fall into one of these traps. The point is that things aren't the way they used to, where people are just looking for love and people are just looking for happiness. I mean, some are, but people are also looking for a come up. People are also looking for a lifestyle. People are also looking for a way out. And especially athletes, I think, because there isn't necessarily a handbook, or maybe there is, I don't even know, a handbook for how to deal with just life as somebody who's not like everybody else. You run the risk of falling into these traps, and whether it has to do with money or relationships or anything else, these people specifically need to be careful. But not even talking about celebrities and athletes and musicians, all that stuff, just the regular average dude. Maybe the fact that we're all looking at Earl Thomas because of these text messages, and it's a little bit worse for him in this moment, doesn't take away from how bad it is from the guy down the street who nobody knows, who still isn't getting to see his children. And, you know, you want to say, based on the information that I've presented, which is all the information that I have, please let me know if, you know, there's stuff that I'm missing and I'm off base. But from what I've read and seen and heard and all of that, it seems like the initial response would be like, dude, why don't you just download the app, send that text to your buddy as a joke, I mean, look at the Johnny Depp case where he was talking to people like Paul Bettany and kind of slagging off Amber Heard in pretty grotesque ways, but it was understood in the context that it was venting, or at least I understood it that way. I'm pretty sure that the jury saw it that way too, but again, we're gonna have to wait till next week to see what's good with that. But the idea is, if you just follow what they tell you, you'll probably be fine. But even still, because there's so much, it just takes one moment of passion pointed in the wrong direction to screw you over. And this isn't even specifically just talking about his family and his children, but now the idea about wishing, I don't want to say it too many times, but wishing what he did on his children and saying what he did about his family, what they would do to the children. Now the NFL and the has to contend with whether they want to entertain that. And it's just, going back to what Rich Cooper of Entrepreneurs and Cars is saying, men love to complicate their lives and justify why. Just do the stuff, dude. I understand how much of a simplistic view that may be. Like, just do all the right things. That's all. That's easy for me to say without a girlfriend. As I was saying, I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have a wife. I don't plan on getting married, at least not anytime soon. But I certainly have fallen way too hard for girls, as I was just talking about. And I've had to learn, just as little old me, that, whoa, this is a minefield out here. I need to know how to navigate this. Otherwise, I'm going to be in trouble. Comparing that to a famous athlete, I can't even imagine. And so the notion of this whole thing was, again, as you can see at the top here, Should Men Get Married Chronicles, talking about, is it a smart move for men in general to get married? We like to use these public examples so that we're not speaking in hypotheticals and, well, what if this and what if that? We at least have a concrete example to talk about. This happened and that shouldn't have happened, and this happened and caused that. And even on that, whatever the case may be. Same thing with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That's why these things get so much play in the media and everywhere else. It's because this is something where the issues that we all deal with and are trying to navigate all the time are now condensed into an example where we all have the same facts. We all have the same we might not have the same exact perception, but we're watching the same trial. We're talking about the same events. And it makes things much easier to talk about. And when you break it down, it becomes a lot simpler. When you try to talk about these things in the abstract and what could happen with this hypothetical person in a hypothetical relationship, it's very easy to get lost in the minutia. But when we're talking about a specific case of this guy who was doing well, in one of the articles that I pulled up here from Austin American Statesman, it's a local newspaper. I don't know how accurate it is, but it seems like this isn't highly contested. But it says here that Trey Dolezal, an Austin lawyer and sports agent who represents Thomas in an ongoing divorce, said that he left a message for Thomas to let him know about his arrest warrant. He said the warrant stems from his reaching out to the wife and children. But the lawyer says they were consciously and collectively working together to see his kids. I don't really understand how he could be in violation by working together with his kids. So, he was doing what he was supposed to be doing. Aside from downloading the specific app, he was just texting. And I'm not familiar with what kind of app this is, but it seems pretty simple. It seems like a co-parenting WhatsApp type of deal. Why he didn't want to do that? Why he got so angry specifically? Does it have to do with this other dude? All of these things are relevant, but not really the crux of the issue. And I thank again TLA for framing this in a context where it makes sense to talk about marriage in general, because I don't necessarily expect myself to be in the situation where I'm wishing harm on my own children to the woman that birthed them. But I don't think he was either. And that's the point, is that he's here now. So the dating landscape is getting more and more dangerous. And it's just a scary thing. And so, to frame it as TLA did, is it worth getting married? Unless you're with someone who you've known since basically childhood, it almost doesn't seem rational that you would expect that this person would do 0 things that can F up your life and have the courts behind them. So it's not to say that this is this is naturally how all women are. But the point is, you don't know until it's too late. And when the hookup culture is such that women feel empowered by just sleeping around and doing this, and that's for the most part what guys really want, then what's the point? Now, if you're somebody like me who really does want that family thing, then understanding that that is a very rare occurrence, no matter what it is, has saved me so much, because I could see myself getting involved with women who may or may not do this kind of stuff, and just not being an NFL star. I don't have the type of options that Earl Thomas does. So it's frightening to think where I would be if I didn't think about these things in the way that people like Kevin Samuels, Rich Cooper, the lead attorney, all of these guys have presented it, and like, hey, you really need to think about it in this way and make sure you understand what it is that you're contending with. But what do you guys think? Is there something about the Earl Thomas situation that I'm missing, that I don't really understand, that is clouding my judgment? What do you think about getting married for men? Do you think that's a good choice? Or do you think that it's just something that exists now for women to take advantage of and men to just cross their fingers and hope nothing goes wrong? I don't really know, but I would love to know what you think. Please do make sure you comment your thoughts below so that we can keep this going. I do, of course, have those links in the description. If you could help out the channel, that would be awesome. But, of course, it is absolutely free to hit that like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Even if you don't want to do that and you just want to sit at home and think about how great I am and how awesome this platform is, you can do that too. Until next time, I am Lutch. Don't forget to follow me at IDRYBlutch, and I am out of here. Peace.